In a small village nestled amongst rolling green hills lived a farmer named Tom. His little cottage, with its thatched roof and a wisp of smoke curling from the chimney, was a place of warmth and kindness. Tom was known by everyone in the village. He had a kind face, weathered by the sun and the wind, and his hands, though rough from work, were always gentle. His farm was not large, but it was the heart of his world, a place where life grew in abundance under his watchful and caring eye. He loved his home, and he loved the quiet rhythm of village life, where neighbors were friends and everyone helped one another. Tom's family was his greatest treasure. His wife, Mary, had a smile that could brighten the rainiest of days, and their two children, young Jack and little Lily, filled the cottage with laughter and joy. They were a close family, bound together by love and the simple pleasures of country living. Tom worked hard to provide for them, not with riches or gold, but with good food from the earth and a safe, happy home. He wanted his children to learn the value of hard work and the importance of being good to others, lessons he taught them not with words, but by the way he lived his life each and every day. The village itself was a picture of peace. A cobbled lane wound its way past cottages with bright flower gardens, and a little stone church stood at its center. Tom's farm was just on the edge of the village, a patchwork of fields stretching out towards the woods. Everyone knew the sound of his cart rumbling down the lane, or the sight of him leading his cows to pasture in the early morning mist. He was a part of the village, just as the ancient oak tree in the square was, a steadfast and reassuring presence for all who lived there. Tom believed in a simple life. He found joy not in having many things, but in the richness of the world around him. The taste of a freshly picked apple, the warmth of the sun on his back as he worked, the sound of his children playing in the yard. These were the things that made his heart full. He felt a deep connection to the land he farmed, a land that had been worked by his father and his grandfather before him. It was more than just soil and crops. It was his heritage, his purpose, and the very foundation of his peaceful existence. Tom's day began long before the sun peeked over the horizon. The first hint of dawn would find him already awake, pulling on his sturdy boots and heading out into the cool, quiet air. His first task was always to tend to the animals. He would greet the cows with a soft word, their warm breath misting in the morning chill as he milked them. The chickens would cluck happily as he scattered their feed, and the pigs would grunt with contentment from their sty. He took great care of his animals, for he knew they depended on him completely for their well-being. After seeing to the animals, Tom would return to the cottage for a simple breakfast with his family. Mary would have a warm bowl of porridge ready, and they would sit together at the wooden table, talking about the day ahead. These quiet moments were precious to Tom. They fortified his spirit for the long day of labor that awaited him in the fields. Holding Mary's hand and seeing the bright faces of his children gave him all the strength he needed to face whatever challenges the day might bring. His family was the sun around which his world turned. With breakfast finished, Tom would head out to the fields. His work changed with the seasons. In the spring, he plowed the dark, rich earth, preparing it for the seeds that held the promise of a future harvest. In the summer, he would hoe the long rows, keeping the weeds at bay so his crops could grow strong and tall under the warm sun. It was hard, physical work that made his muscles ache, but Tom never complained. He found a deep satisfaction in the rhythm of the work, in feeling the soil under his hands and watching life sprout from the ground. As the sun reached its peak in the sky, Tom would pause for a moment, wiping his brow and looking out over his fields. He would see the neat rows of vegetables, the golden wheat swaying gently in the breeze, and feel a sense of profound accomplishment. This land was his responsibility, and he tended it with diligence and respect. He knew that every plant, every ear of corn, was a testament to his hard work and dedication. This was not just a job for Tom, it was his calling, a partnership with nature that nourished both his family and his soul. Life as a farmer was not always easy, and Tom knew that nature could be a harsh master. Some years the spring rains refused to fall, and the sun would beat down relentlessly upon the thirsty earth. The ground would grow hard and cracked, and the young plants would begin to wither. During these times of drought, a worry would settle deep in Tom's heart. He would look to the cloudless sky, praying for a sign of rain, knowing that his family and his livestock depended on the crops that were struggling to survive in the parched fields. Other times, the problem was not too little water, but too much. A sudden summer storm could unleash a torrent of rain, turning his carefully tended fields into a sea of mud. The powerful winds could flatten the tall stalks of corn, and the heavy downpour could wash away the precious topsoil. Tom would stand at his window, watching the storm rage, his heart aching for the damage being done. It was a helpless feeling, knowing that all his hard work could be undone in a matter of minutes by the fury of the weather. Sickness could also cast a shadow over the farm. Sometimes, despite his best efforts, one of his animals would fall ill. He would spend sleepless nights in the barn, tending to a feverish cow or a lamb that was too weak to stand. He felt a deep sorrow for any of his animals that suffered, as he saw them not just as livestock, but as living creatures under his protection. The health of his animals was crucial for the farm's survival, and a bout of sickness was a serious threat that required all of his skill and attention to overcome. These challenges tested Tom's spirit, but they never broke it. He understood that hardship was a part of life, just as the sun and the rain were. Each problem was a lesson, a test of his resolve and his ingenuity. He knew that complaining would not fill the water barrels or heal a sick animal. Instead, he would take a deep breath, square his shoulders, and face the problem head-on. His resilience was born from a deep love for his land and his family, a love that gave him the strength to endure and to find a way forward, no matter how difficult the path. When faced with problems, Tom never had to face them alone. During a long drought, he worked with his neighbors to dig a deeper well, ensuring everyone in the village had enough water for their homes and their animals. They would take turns hauling buckets, their shared effort making the difficult task manageable. When a storm damaged a neighbor's barn, Tom was the first one there with his hammer and saw, ready to help rebuild. The people of the village understood that their strength lay in their unity, and they supported one another without a second thought. Tom's knowledge, gained through years of working the land, was a resource he shared freely. If a fellow farmer had a sick animal, Tom would go and offer his advice, sharing remedies that had been passed down through his family. He taught the younger farmers how to read the weather in the clouds and how to enrich the soil to ensure a better harvest. He believed that helping his neighbors succeed was just as important as his own success, for a prosperous village was a happy village for everyone, including his own family. This spirit of generosity filled Tom with a quiet joy. There was a deep satisfaction in seeing a neighbor's field flourish because of a tip he had shared, or watching a family move back into a mended barn. He didn't seek thanks or praise. The reward was in the act of helping itself. His love for his family extended outwards to encompass the entire community. He saw the village as one large family, and he felt a duty to care for it, to contribute to its well-being, and to ensure it remained a place of kindness and mutual support. In the evenings, as the sun set and cast a golden glow over his farm, Tom would sit on his porch with Mary, his children playing nearby. He would look out at his fields, at his sturdy barn, and at the distant lights of the village, and his heart would be full. He was not a rich man in terms of money, but he was wealthy in all the ways that truly mattered. He had a loving family, good friends, and the respect of his community. He had a life of purpose, built on honest work and simple goodness. And in that simple, honest life, Tom found a happiness more profound than any treasure.